Hello again YouTube and welcome back to Just Get a Tesla. I'm squatting down next to my Tesla pointing at one of the ultrasonic sensors that my 2022 Model Y long range has got. Any car built since then hasn't got them, and I got into a bit of a scrape in a car park where I think without these Tesla Vision would have left me stuck. One of the joys of making YouTube videos is that they don't always go the way that you're planning them to go. And you get partway through doing something and realise a video that you thought was going to be about this actually needs to be about that. And this is one of those cases. Fundamentally, I had let's say a microphone malfunction on the final leg of my 5-day trip around England, of which there's already been 2 videos previously. So we get on to the last day going home, and I've got lots of video with no sound, which is a problem. But the bit right at the beginning of the trip in the car park is actually the focus of this video as I'm making it now. And if you haven't seen the previous videos on this trip, go and watch those first. The second of those videos shows me going into the car park and plugging in with the granny charger, and you can see it's a bit tight. So I think the key point that I'm going to be making here is ultrasonic sensors versus Tesla Vision. So my car has got a whole raft of sensors, like there you can't see because it's gone dark, and there, basically all around the front and the back of the car. And again, what that means is you can see the corners of the vehicle on the screen because it shows you a series of arcs because of the ultrasonics coming off there. Now, if you haven't got that and you're on one of the cars where they deleted the sensors, then you are stuck on Tesla Vision. Now, what that does is it uses the cameras. So there's 3 cameras in the pod up on the front, and there is a wing camera on each side pointing backwards, and there's another one on each side pointing forwards, and then of course there is one on the rear of the car sat underneath the number plate. And it's using the cameras to be able to see its surroundings and where it is. Here's the thing. As good as the system is now getting, and as I understand it, the recent software updates really have improved it, there are some blind spots. So camera up here, even with a nice wide vision, is going to struggle to see something which is here. And I do mean right here. And that is the problem I had getting out of that car park. Let's dip back into the video and go through it. I am in Sheffield and I need to go home to Northern Aberdeenshire, and I am in a particularly tight underground hotel car park thing to get between basically those 2 pillars, which is going to mean a bit of shunty to be able to do so, but we're going to be able to do that, I'm sure. I have charged the car to 100% overnight using the 3-pin charging solution for the car by the hotel, and of course using the granny charger. Now, I know in the past I did a video and said, do we need the granny charger? Then I used it during the winter when it was snowing, and I've used it again now. So of course the answer is yes, you do need the granny charger. It's worth having. Let's get out of here. Trying to get out of this car park is going to be a pain. It is very tight, so I'm hooked right up against the wall on the left hand side, and as I'm turning out, I'm trying to make sure that I am not hitting the corner of the car on the various bits protruding out of the wall. And the idea is basically to swing forward and then shunt back again, because I need to be as tight as I can over on the right hand side to then be able to do a turn into the exit lane, to be able to clear the fence that you can see in front of you. The metal fence has got a concrete wall on the bottom and the pillar on the left hand side with stripes. And that's the problem, because I'm turning basically the corner here and the gap is getting narrower because obviously the back of the car is trailing as you're going forward. The sensors were absolutely critical because I can see the pillar on the left hand side. What I can't see is exactly where the concrete and the fence are at the front right. So I'm using the sensors to be able to see just how close that I'm getting, and you can see on the display it's showing me, and it keeps flashing up stop occasionally. That's how close I was to it, and I'm basically using the binging of that and then looking back into the mirror to make sure that I am just about clearing the pillar. And I was, but it was just. This car park is awful, which is why I don't go into it very often. Happily, I managed to make it out without dinging the car. As this video also kind of wraps up the 5-day road trip around England that I did, which again, there's already 2 videos, I am going to leave in the couple of bits that I did with my phone camera, which was working, as opposed to my GoPro with a microphone, which was not working. They are relevant, it ties the trip up, so we'll dive into that, and then I'll come back at the end. On to the stand here in Edinburgh, and what are we getting? 221? Yeah, 222, maybe a 2. Come on, oh, the sun's so bright. We might get a little bit more than that, maybe not. Anyway, that is absolutely fab, because it means a nice quick charge up. I'm going to go and have a wander down into the service centre and get a tea and some biscuits, because why on earth not? Again, the Tesla advantage, if it's at a service centre and if it's open, come in and use the facilities and see what they've got. A little point of rebellion to talk about here. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Tesla Model Ys here. Most are long range and have got the 19-inch Gemini wheels. Mine is the only one that hasn't got the wheel covers on and instead has gone for the centre caps. Just a little point of difference. One thing that has just occurred to me is a fairly basic question. Would I have got out of that hotel car park without parking sensors? Because for all of the people who've got a newer car than mine where the ultrasonic sensors have been deleted, you're reliant on Tesla Vision, and the only cameras on the front of the car are in the pod up there, which can't see that corner, or the forward facing one there in the pillar, which can't see that corner either. And not getting that corner scritched onto the concrete was kind of critical, and the sensors were telling me just how far away I was and when I was getting closer and closer and closer, and that was absolutely essential for me to be able to get out properly. So I'm wondering if, like the guy behind me, I didn't have sensors, would I actually have made it, or would I have made it without some ground potential? Because I've been in horrible car parks like that before where you can't really see, and it's just awful. So at least with this one, the sensors were telling me exactly where I was. You've got to ask the question, why have Tesla taken them off? Because let's be brutally honest about it, Tesla Vision still doesn't work. So I've just been sat here chatting and realised it's already got to 75%. Bizarrely, it's telling me 15 minutes remaining to continue the trip, which is bonkers, because I've got 163 miles left until home, but if we look on averages, 248, 226, yeah, forget that one. So I've got absolutely bags of power left to be able to get me home and to be able to hoof it a little bit. So let's go on unhook and get on with it. Why is it telling me 15 minutes left for the trip? I hit continue trip, what does it do then? It's still telling me 15 minutes. Come on, focus, there you go. It's still telling me 15 minutes to remaining to continue trip. That makes no sense at all. We're back home, finally. And what can I say? It was definitely a more power burning run back from Edinburgh than I'd been expecting, considering that I've been on, 250, 260 watt hours per mile all of this trip pretty much. The fact that it's on 300 over 166 miles is a bit of a surprise, but whatever. It does mean though that my overall number is 262 watt hours per mile across the entirety of the 1,229 miles that I've done. I actually think that is pretty good, considering that so much of this trip has been on motorways and there's been, bits in towns and cities and bad traffic and all of that other stuff as well. But honestly, this car has been so comfortable to ride in for these last 5 days that I just think it's perfect. Also, I've got a big boot behind me, and at the moment it's full of a really big box, as well as my luggage
from the trip. That's another reason to get the Model Y over the Model 3, and it's also a reason to get this kind of car over something like the Hyundai Ioniq 5, and especially the Kia EV6, where the boot just isn't big enough, isn't flexible enough, and there's quite a few other EVs where it's a compromised package because of the way that it's designed, where it's built essentially in a factory or on a production line where they're still building internal combustion engines, or worse still, it is a mechanically powered car platform that's been converted to be an EV, where again the packaging is compromised. This has just got bags of space, which if you need bags of space and you need it to be efficient, it's perfect. Again, look at this huge glass roof and the wonderful curve backwards. That is there for efficiency. It's not there to look pretty, and I know some people go, it doesn't look great. I actually think it does, but I understand the arguments.
And so that's it, really. Tesla Vision, as good as the software is now getting, I'm not convinced that I would have got out of that car park without a big scrape on the front of the car. And I've been in other car parks, in other cars, where only the sensors have saved me. My Volvo S90 went through a car park tunnel thing in Liverpool, which was absolutely terrifying. The idea of not having the sensors just isn't even really thinkable. But there's so many of you who already have Tesla Model 3s, Model Ys without the sensors, and you have to live it. So let me know in the comments how you're getting on. Is it working for you? Are you struggling? Do you think it's absolutely fine? Again, let's have the conversation in the comments. I'm very interested, and I'll see you all very soon back here on Just Get a Tesla.